You want the moon? Just say the word and I'll throw a lasso around it and pull it down.
Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you.
I don't think it is very useful to speculate on what God might or might not be able to do. Rather, we should examine what he actually does with the universe we live in.
We are all explorers, driven to know what's over the horizon. The most profound discoveries are not necessarily beyond that next star. They're within us, woven into the threads that bind us.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to a special late night edition of Transits Today. As you know, or many of you know, I will be out of town tomorrow morning and for the next week, but we've got a lot going on in the forecast this weekend, and I wanted to make sure you're ready for it. In fact, there's so much going on that if you look down at what's called the ticker down here, that little scrolling text, there wasn't even enough room to include what's happening with the moon. That's how many transits are playing out this weekend. So we're going to try to go through them fairly quickly. If you're joining me live, feel free to pop in the chat. Hi, Nikki from Canada. It's your birthday tomorrow. Happy birthday, Virgo. And happy birthday to me, too. My birthday's on Sunday. That's why I'll be going out of town. So you know I had to give the forecast for my own birthday. Let's see, though, Nikki, who do we share our birthdays with? Friday, September 16th, here are some notable Virgos celebrating their birthdays. Nick Jonas, definitely some Virgo vibes, right? Mark Anthony, interesting. I could see that. Alexis Bledel, again, classic Virgo, even just like her fair skin. She just has that pure, innocent nature about her. Mickey Rourke, interesting. B.B. King, Amy Poehler. We love Amy Poehler, yes. Lauren Bacall, hopefully I'm saying her last name right, but I recognize her, old actress. Let's see. And then on the 17th, my beautiful friend Troy has his birthday on the 17th, so happy birthday to Troy. He shares his birthday with Billy the Kid, and that tracks. They're both very rebellious. I can see that for Troy. John Ritter as well on the 17th. Hank Williams, is it junior or senior? Just Hank Williams Sr. Hank Williams Sr.'s on the 17th. And Kyle Chandler, interesting. And on the 18th, who are my birthday twins? Jada Pinkett Smith, I knew that. Also Lance Armstrong, he's not coming up at the beginning here, but there he is. I knew he was my birthday twin. Jason Sudeikis, born on September 18th. James Marsden, okay. Patrick Schwarzenegger, James Gandolfini, John McAfee. Greta Garbo, yes, okay. September 18th, babies. Ben Carson, all right. I don't know if we want to claim him. Frankie Avalon, lots of September babies. Billy Eichner. What's really interesting, I saw this and we didn't talk about it last week, but on September 9th, it's actually the most common birthday because of how many people conceive their babies right around the holidays. That's why so many babies are born this time of year. And I can confirm that I too was conceived around the holidays. Thank you so much, everybody. I'm feeling all the love from you. Yeah, weird being here at night. Good evening. Yes, feels very formal. Good evening. Good evening, says Nick. Thank you. Tomorrow is your bestie's birthday and Saturday is your niece. Both are Reiki healers as well as amazing Virgos. Virgos have that natural healing nature, right? They just want to be helpful and of service to other people. And I love that both of those amazing Virgos are Reiki healers. Your mother-in-law shares a birthday with me. Almost everything about her screams Virgo. We've talked about her before. Yeah, I mean, me too. Luckily, I got a stellium in Libra, so that balances things out a little bit. But yeah, both are healers. not your brother. He's a musclehead. Is he a Virgo too? That's funny. Well, we're also about our health and wellness, so it makes sense that he expresses his Virgo-ness in the gym, right? We've got a lot to get to, so I'm just going to get right into it. And if you're finding this video later, if you weren't able to join me for this late night episode, I will go ahead and put markers down on the timeline down below because, like I said, there are so many transits, so much playing out that you might want to digest this video in bite-sized chunks day by day. So I will give you the option to do that as well. And I'm going to try to get through the transits fairly quickly, not only so we're not here all night, but also trying to save my voice because I've literally been talking all day long, you guys. But luckily, I've got a long plane ride tomorrow to shut up and be quiet and give my voice some rest. So let's get a check on the energy. Currently, the sun is in Virgo, the moon is in Gemini. The moon will stay in Gemini over the next couple of days and move into Cancer over the weekend. And we're going to be talking about the last quarter moon. So we're really in this releasing phase emotionally. It feels like a cleanse in a lot of ways. And there could be some big realizations popping up in the process when you see what transits we're talking about. But Virgo season likes to clean things out. You know, we talk about spring cleaning, but a lot of people are probably feeling that urge to do some fall cleaning, to get rid of things, to purify their spaces. And also the moon in Gemini is going to make us kind of want to verbal process and word vomit a lot of things. Maybe even emotionally vomit a lot of things when the moon moves into Cancer. There might be some tears, but it's all part of the shedding process of this last quarter moon. So this Friday, we have a powerful transit. I know we talked a little bit about this morning. Bibi was saying she was feeling a little frisky, and we touched on this, but Venus is squaring Mars. Look at that. Venus at 14 degrees, Mars at 14 degrees in Virgo and Gemini in these mutable signs. And you've heard it before. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus. These two planets are very much associated with our masculine and feminine energy. And remember, when we talk about masculine and feminine, we're not just talking about male and female. We all have both of these energies within us. But this transit, Venus squaring Mars, really brings up the mantra, all is fair in love and war, because Mars is the planet of war, Venus is the planet of love, and the two of them are clashing with one another in this tense 90-degree angle. This is the tale of Venus squaring Mars, the planet of harmony, clashing with the planet of aggression, the planet of beauty, clashing with the planet of action. So there's kind of this conflict between our need for peace and our need to make some moves and take some action. Because this is so associated with our need for pleasure, our need or our desire, there creates some sexual tension here as well, the feminine masculine tension that we're talking about. So this can bring up a lot of attraction in the process, right? Opposite gender expressions. Notice that I don't say male and female, but there's definitely this tension between that masculine feminine energy. So you might notice that there's a little bit of tension in good ways and in negative ways between the masculine and feminine energies in your life. And it's a great way to get out that aggravation in a healthy way. And you know, getting it out between the sheets could be a healthy way if you ask me. But there's this intense like thirst almost, or like desire for pleasure, to feel good, to have our needs met. Now, because of this, it's going to be a Friday. You might be going out on a Friday night. Things could be really hot and heavy. You might find yourself in a situation, especially if you're single, where you're like having this carnal attraction to someone else. But this would not probably be a true nature of the relationship between you. We're all feeling that sexual tension, and sometimes we make questionable decisions when we're in that state of mind, right? Especially because there's another transit playing out at the same time that causes some confusion and maybe even some delusion. The sun is opposing Neptune. take a look at this. So Venus squaring Mars right around noon, the sun opposing Neptune at about 3:30 in the afternoon. So not far off from one another. And you can see that here, the sun and Neptune opposing each other. The sun's almost there, but you can see that dark red line marking the opposition. So the sun in Virgo wants clarity. It wants to see the details. It makes us very aware of the small little pieces that make up the big picture. Whereas Neptune in Pisces, it's all about the fogginess. It's all about the blurriness. There's no boundaries. Confusion is very likely. It could be really easy to get swept up into a fantasy, especially if you're following those sexual urges this Friday. Our awareness is essentially just foggy. And as much as we try to cut through the fog and seek clarity this Virgo season, Neptune is going to be keeping us in the cloud, in that blurriness. We might even find ourselves being overly self-sacrificing, especially when we talk about Virgo and Pisces energy. Both of them are really about serving others and other people's energy. And so you might find yourselves being overly willing to sacrifice yourself for others, or almost unable to stand up for what you want and what you believe, especially when we go back to that tension between Venus and Mars. If someone is coming on to you strongly, you might find yourself being like, oh, I'm confused. Do I want this? And just kind of going along with it. So want to be really mindful about the interactions you're having. Try to keep your wits about you. And if you're not sure on something, make sure at the very least that you feel safe, that you are upholding your values and your boundaries, because it could be really difficult to discern people's motives, or even just to discern fact from fiction today. What is true and what is make-believe. So this opposition between the sun and Neptune is like weighing our rational mind with our imagination. Did we imagine that we saw them do that thing, or did it really happen? Did we imagine that they gave us a flashy sexual look from across the bar, or is that what really happened? So you might just find yourself questioning either what's really going on around you, or even your own ideals, your own values, what you believe to be true. For this reason, it probably wouldn't be the best day to start anything new, to sign on to anything. I say don't sign any contracts, especially Mercury's retrograde, right? Like confusion. This just adds another layer to the confusion. So be really mindful of what you're doing. And if you can delay making major decisions, I would highly suggest doing that really until after the weekend's over. It's Friday anyway. Take these transits as a sign to maybe just play a little. And hopefully, if you're already in like a safe, loving relationship, you can get out that masculine, feminine tension in a more healthy way, in a way that feels safe. There's also ways, you don't have to have a partner to play into this energy. So, how can we use the square between Venus and Mars to our advantage? We can kind of assess ourselves. Where are we leaning more into our masculine, this go energy, this assertive energy, this aggressive energy? And where are we being more receptive and soft? Those two parts of ourselves could feel like they're clashing when Venus squares Mars. So you might find yourself confused, going back to this sun opposition to Neptune, between wanting to speed up and slow down, between wanting to put yourself out there and wait and attract what you want to come to you. So there's just this general energy of confusion and kind of this push-pull magnetism that we're working with. But even if you're drawn to something and it feels, I think especially if you're drawn to something and it feels like, ooh, that's exciting, or ooh, that feels spicy, you might be confused. Okay, so just keep your eyes open, be cautious, don't make any decisions. Play in the fog, have fun in the fog, make sure you're safe, make sure there's nothing lurking in that fog around you. Protect your energetic boundaries for sure. With the sun opposing Neptune, there's an element of sensitivity here, being able to take on other people's energy very easily, but also just don't make any decisions. That's my best advice to you. Hopefully you're in a position where you don't have to make any major decisions today. Okay, let's talk about what's going on with the moon on Friday, and then we'll keep on trucking along. We got a lot to talk about, like I said. The waning gibbous moon is in Gemini all day on Friday. And in the waning gibbous phase, we are releasing, there's this element of, we're not quite to a phase where we're in full surrender, but we're really starting to shed layers. And with everything that came up during the Pisces full moon last weekend, the waning gibbous moon in Gemini, the Taurus moon this week helped us to kind of slow down. The waning gibbous moon in Gemini, you might find yourself being more social this Friday and really wanting to talk things out with other people. Remember, though, we want to be mindful of who we're sharing with, how much trust we're putting in other people because of that element of confusion that we just talked about with the sun opposing Neptune. So it's not just about like who are you attracted to and what situations are you attracted to, but who are you sharing with? Who are you word vomiting to? It's really likely that we're going to want to word vomit with the waning gibbous moon in Gemini coming into this peak releasing phase. And our words are really our greatest assets. So if you are a little worried about, needing to process something through your words, but not knowing if you can trust somebody to say it to, use your journal, write it out, do a little rage on the page. Just sit down and let the words flow out of you. Overnight, early Friday morning, so if you're watching this live, this is a transit you'll experience probably when you go to sleep tonight at 2 a.m., the moon harmonizes with Mercury. So Mercury is retrograde now, and you might find yourself kind of dreaming about the past tonight because of Mercury retrograde, helping us review, putting our rational mind in a place where we're looking in retrospect. Insights can come through with ease because this is a trine, right? So Mercury, let's see, where's Mercury right now? Mercury is going to be at 6 degrees, maybe 7 degrees overnight. No, probably 6 degrees. So when the moon gets to that 6-degree mark overnight, that's when that trine will play out there. You can see that light blue line as this is a little ahead, but you get the idea. So this nice flowing harmony between the moon and Mercury allows insights to come through easily, allows us to process our emotions through our rational mind easily. And if we're sleeping, that can come through in dreams. It can be really clear dreams coming through, or it could be memories coming through our subconscious. Maybe you're dreaming about somebody from the past, might even feel more like deja vu. Or you might experience this while you're waking up tomorrow morning, and you could feel like you're waking up as like a past version of yourself, like even your mental chatter or the emotions you're feeling almost belong to somebody you used to be. So there's kind of this element of nostalgia that we'll be coming back to throughout the weekend, but especially as you wake up or pay attention to your dreams Thursday night into Friday morning. The moon's pretty quiet most of the day on Friday until 5 p.m. And there's kind of this mashup of energy we'll talk about on Friday night. So let me fast forward here because I think it'll be best if you can see what I'm talking about with your own eyeballs. Okay, so here we go. Take a look at where the moon's at. Right on top of Mars. The moon is conjunct Mars. Friday night, we're feeling aggressive, we're feeling energetic, we're feeling motivated. This is kind of like that, like, let's go. It's Friday night energy, right? Especially in Gemini, we're social. But the moon is playing into that square between Venus and Mars. So as the moon squares Venus, this is why I say there's going to be this really intense attraction, neediness, need for affection on Friday night. Because anytime the moon squares Venus, we need love. We need pleasure, right? So we're aggressive. We're willing to put ourselves out there and go get it, but we're also needy. It's this magnetism. And you could find yourself being a little frisky on a Friday night. Take a look at what's going on just a couple hours later at the same time. Chiron at 15 degrees forms a sextile to the moon and Mars. And we'll come back to that sextile between Mars and Chiron. We're going to be talking about that. I believe it's exact on Saturday. But the moon forming a sextile to Chiron tells us that, being in these magnetic, tense environments could potentially trigger our wounds on Friday night, especially if we're not getting the reception we're looking for when we're out on the prowl. Or maybe you're staying in and you're feeling frisky, and maybe your partner is a little confused because the sun's opposing Neptune and you're not getting exactly what you need. That could trigger some wounds. But anytime there's a connection to Chiron, yes, it can trigger our wounds, but it can also create an opportunity for healing. So if you're noticing yourself feeling that tension and like, oh, I want a partner, I want to feel good, want feels like the word of the day on Friday. We're just wanting. what's under that want? What's deeper? Let's take it down a notch and see like what wounding is coming up around that neediness, right? So Chiron is here just kind of reminding us like this almost desperate energy with Mars squaring Venus could show us, you know, what we feel like we're lacking, because truly we are exactly what we need. We are more than enough, but sometimes our mind tricks us into thinking that we need something outside of ourselves to feel good, right? And that definitely feels like the energy of Friday. So it's a frisky Friday, y'all. It's really frisky. Oh, you have a women's circling group on Friday night. I love that. I feel like that's a really actually healthy way to play into this, because you're probably going to be craving some sort of connection. So, you know, it'll be a nice, healthy way, especially under the Gemini moon, this very social energy for you all to connect with one another. That's super beautiful. I love that. I hope you have such a beautiful time. Friday sounds like a good night for karaoke. It's always a good night for karaoke in my book. But yeah, like wanting to be seen, kind of just like wanting to play into that friskiness. I hope you do some karaoke. Let me know how it goes. Sing a song for me, Katie. Okay, that's Friday. Let's move on to our Saturday transits. We're talking more about our friends Venus and Mars. Yes, we couldn't get enough of them. They just wanted to be the center of attention this weekend. Don't worry though, things change a little bit at least on Sunday. But more talk about Venus and Mars. Venus on Saturday is harmonizing with the North Node. Okay, so these aren't major transits that we're feeling on Saturday, but they kind of add a layer to all the tension we've been feeling between Venus and Mars on Friday and kind of leading up to this square. It sounds like a lot of people are already starting to feel that tension, right? Venus harmonizing with the North Node on Saturday afternoon. So you can see that on the chart for Saturday. Let me see, pull it up here. Venus is at 15 degrees and the North Node is at 15 degrees. You can kind of see them connecting there. Take my word, they're connecting. It's a trine between Venus and the North Node. The North Node representing the directions we're going, the lessons we're here to learn. So Venus is in this supportive connection to these karmic positions in our solar system in astrology. And it just feels like love is the answer. Venus trine the North Node, love is the answer. Not just physical love, although we're going to be craving that as we've talked about, but Venus and Virgo displays, or it craves realistic displays of affection. So acts of service, and also just notice, because this is such a fated connection, notice small gifts from the universe and the people in your life, and being able to notice the details with Venus and Virgo and accept the details, the little bits of love people are handing you, is going to help you along your path, learn the lessons you're here to learn, evolve in the way you're meant to evolve. It's like the little bits of beauty along the way are giving us glimpses of the overall picture now, and that's something we'll continue talking about throughout the weekend. The other transit we're feeling involves Mars. So still very much feeling Venus and Mars, like I said, but Mars forms that sextile to Chiron, as you saw on the chart. So Mars at, oh shoot, I lost the chart. Here we go. Mars at 14 degrees, Chiron at 15 degrees. They're forming a sextile, a supportive angle to one another on Saturday. And to me, it's like love is the answer and we can take actions that heal. Those feel kind of like the energies that are playing out on Saturday. So there is potential for realizations and healing through how we're relating to other people, through that masculine, feminine tension that we're feeling. If we are intentional, we can have healing through our actions, even kind of following your impulses with Mars and Gemini, following that curiosity even can lead to powerful realizations in our healing journey. Acting from that place of curiosity and wanting to learn more, even learn more about ourselves, can lead us to new awareness and even new modalities of healing ourselves. So as Mars forms a sextile to Chiron, if you're finding this curiosity of like, oh, I want to try that thing. I've heard that, you know, this form of meditation or somatic experiencing could be really healing. Follow that curiosity this weekend. follow that little impulse, because there is healing from just even taking small actions and just, like I said, following our curiosity. That can be incredibly healing on Saturday. Okay, going back to the Gemini moon, the moon will stay in Gemini all day on Saturday. And again, we're feeling social. We're wanting to process our emotions through our words. Kind of word vomity, brain dumping, journaling, definitely favored. Overnight, from Friday night to Saturday morning, the moon is harmonizing with Saturn. Okay. Saturn's actually been helping us out quite a bit these last couple weeks, but this harmony between the moon and Saturn helps us act with maturity, although most of us will probably be sleeping at 3 a.m. on Saturday morning. And, you know, this could come as negativity coming through our dreams or worry coming through our dreams. So just keep that in mind. But if you happen to be awake, or if you're really leaning into the higher expression of this transit, Saturn can just slow us down. The Gemini moon is very flighty, right? It's like, like that's kind of how I feel the energy of the Gemini moon. And Saturn's like, okay, slow down. We can be a little more reserved at a time when we are more word vomity and want to like, blah, this is how I feel. This is the realizations I've been having. This is what's going on. Like I said, I've been talking nonstop all day. It's like I can't stop myself from talking. But Saturn is like, let's pull it back. Let's be a little more modest, reserved, and mature at a time when we might have looser lips. So logic and practicality can come really easily overnight or first thing Saturday morning. The only other moon connection we have is on Saturday afternoon, and I think you should be able to see it on the chart here. The moon, remember the sun is opposing Neptune, right? The moon, you can kind of see that T-square, but there's so much going on right now. Here, let me just jump ahead a couple hours and you can see it. Okay, well, look at that big old T-square between the moon, the sun, and Neptune. So the moon becomes this pivotal point in the T-square. It's rounding this corner, and a T-square between the moon and Neptune really brings an emotional awareness to that fogginess we talked about with the sun opposing Neptune. And so you might feel emotional confusion or agitation on Saturday afternoon. It's like also this peak point of release, and it could feel like, oh, like I need to get something out, but I don't know what I actually need to release. So beware of sharing too much. Like I said, it's like we're not thinking super clearly right now, but we know that we want to purge as the sun and the moon square each other, marking this final point of release in the moon cycle. Like this need to just unload what's on our mind could create some blurry boundaries or violate some boundaries that we just can't see because the moon is squaring Neptune at the same time. And even the information we are sharing could be misheard or misconstrued because of Neptune's influence and because Mercury is retrograde. So be really mindful all weekend long, honestly, about who you're talking to, what you're sharing, and know that you always have your journal or your dog. I talk to my dogs all the time. Talk to an animal, talk to your spirit guides, you know, but be careful about who you're sharing information with this weekend. And then after about 1 in the afternoon, or I should say 2 or 3 in the afternoon on Saturday, the moon is void for the rest of the day, my friends. So chill out on Saturday afternoon. Just take a chill pill. Whew. Let it go. Not the time to start anything new. Find something calming, let the energy diffuse. That'll be a really nice break from how much mentally has been going on and this kind of confusion and this tension. This is a very welcome void moon on Saturday afternoon and Saturday evening. And now let's move on to our Sunday forecast because we have 2 more major transits to talk about. It is my birthday on Sunday. I don't know how I feel about this, but I will say this transit feels very synchronistic. And let me tell you why. Mercury, which happens to be my ruling planet. I know I'm making this about me, but it is my birthday on Sunday. So I'm going to be a little selfish in the transits today. So Mercury retrograde in Libra is opposing Jupiter retrograde in Aries. And what's really interesting about this opposition is it tells the tale of these 2 retrogrades in general. And it really brings an awareness to this major aspect happening during Mercury's retrograde. But what does it mean for us? And even before I get to what it means for us, let me tell you why it feels so synchronistic. You can see right here that the exact degree these two planets lock into an opposition at is 4 degrees and 44 minutes. So you know me, I love an angel number, and that feels like a synchronicity in itself. But what's even cooler is that when we look at Pacific time, the exact time this opposition happens is 3:33 p.m. on Sunday, Pacific time. So it feels like the universe is like, hey, pay attention to this transit, right? We got all these angel numbers, and to me, an angel number is like, hello, pay attention. What does this mean, though? It's like a retrograde tug of war between Mercury and Jupiter. It feels like a 40,000 foot review. And what do I mean by that? Well, both planets are retrograde, right? And so with Mercury retrograde, we're really taking this mental review of relationships with Mercury retrograde in Libra, who we're sharing things with, how we're sharing things, a lot of stuff that's come up already in the forecast. But with Jupiter retrograde, there is this element of reviewing the concept of our abundance, reviewing our beliefs in a lot of ways, and our faith in things. So it feels like anytime Mercury opposes Jupiter, we're less concerned with the small details and we're able to see the bigger picture. But with it being this retrograde opposition, it's like we're able to look back and see the picture rather than planning and looking ahead and seeing the big picture. So details still a little foggy, still feeling that Neptune energy, but we can look back, and I see this transit. I know I will personally be feeling this because it's my solar return, but this transit specifically feels like assessing how much we've grown, right? Jupiter's all about growth. And with this retrograde opposition, it's like manifestation playing out in retrospect. We can review the relationships we've already called in. We can review the creations that we've already birthed. Our sense of faith might come into question, but looking back can be like, look at how much the universe has already supported us. Especially when we look back and at situations that didn't play out exactly how we thought they would play out, very Mercury retrograde energy. It's like, oh, but we were being supported that whole time because look at where it got us now. So it's like these synchronicities and this really powerful retrograde energy, because remember, retrogrades are opportunities. It just feels reassuring, like the universe had you that whole time. Why wouldn't that keep being the case? And it's easier to see. Hindsight is 2020. That's how I would sum up this transit in a nutshell. Also, something fun about this is ideas from the past could come back up in perfect timing as we're talking about synchronicities. So maybe there's an idea you had months ago, years ago, that kind of has been laying dormant. And with Mercury retrograde, that idea pops back up into your awareness and is like, oh, that might be something to revisit, so that could be a fun way to play with this energy as well as Mercury opposes Jupiter. And we have one more major transit to talk about this weekend. Holy moly, as if we couldn't have a jam-packed enough forecast, there's one more big thing happening on Sunday. So we've got this 40,000 foot review going on. We're looking to the past. We're reviewing our abundance. This is happening Sunday afternoon. Then Sunday night, the Sun and Pluto harmonize. This is right around 9 p.m. Pacific time. It's 4:44 here in Hawaii. Ooh, and you probably said that, or I probably saw that right as it was 4:44 and 44 seconds, because I've got one of those fancy seconds clocks on my computer over there. We love that. We love talking about synchronicities, and then there being synchronicities that pop up, right? All the angel numbers. And it feels really divine that we're about to finish out the major transits of the forecast as we talk about synchronicities, because the Sun is harmonizing with Pluto. And this is a really beautiful energy for transformation to unfold. We've been shedding old layers. We're going to be talking about the last quarter moon in a moment, happening right around the same time as this harmony between the Sun and Pluto. So it's like this awareness, the Sun being our awareness and our expression. it's like this awareness of the transformation, how we have transformed, really plays beautifully into that opposition between Mercury and Jupiter, looking back at our growth, but also being able to recognize the transformation that has already happened and the rebirth we're still going through right now. When the sun connects with Pluto, we can really tap into our power and express it naturally. But this doesn't feel like an overpowering energy. It's nice and grounded with these two planets connecting in earth signs, and especially in very modest signs. It's like this nice grounded power of like, this is where I am, I'm here, and I'm transforming, and I'm going to stay nice and stable throughout the process. We have great influence because of that too. It's like our presence alone is influential because the sun and Pluto are harmonizing like this. The Virgo sun brings this energy of clarity, while Pluto and Capricorn reminds us of what's organically falling away right now, so we can even further step into our power. And it also feels, when I was looking into this transit, like an energy of breaking out of our cocoon, or like the cocoon itself breaking down as the sun harmonizes with Pluto, so we can begin to emerge as that beautiful butterfly, as that next more powerful, more radiant version of ourselves, and shine our light even brighter moving forward. Again, I will say this is a little selfish interpretation of the forecast, because I'm like, this is my birthday, I'm transforming, look how much I've grown. But it really does feel like that's the tale of these transits too. So I'm always mindful in the forecast that I only see the transits through my eyes, through my perspective. And I think that's why I call in so many like-minded people to this channel. But I think Sunday is a really powerful day for transformation and acknowledging how much we've grown already with Mercury opposing Jupiter in this retrograde opposition can help us further that transformation and further step into our power, knowing and believing that we were taken care of all that time before. Why would the universe stop now? So it's like that confirmation to keep going and keep evolving. And let's talk about the last quarter moon in Cancer before I let you go. This last quarter moon is playing out on Sunday, and the last quarter moon marks a moment, a peak release in the moon cycle. So as it's in this watery sign of Cancer, you might feel like releasing some emotions on Sunday, and that would be totally fine too. And I don't even think it's like sad emotions, but I almost have this visual of like looking back on how much has changed, how much you've transformed, how much you've grown, and shedding happy tears. Like, because Cancer energy feels very nostalgic, right? And the last quarter moon in Cancer is like releasing, but with this sense of nostalgia. Emotions might come pouring out of you as you look back, but I don't see them being like sad and heavy emotions. I see it being more like sentimental energy with the last quarter moon in Cancer. At 10 a.m. on Sunday, this is the only connection that the moon makes, and I lied, it's going to be 10 a.m. Excuse me, it's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. on Sunday Pacific time, of course. The moon squares Mercury and Jupiter. So the moon is really playing into that opposition we've been talking about between Mercury and Jupiter, between these retrogrades. Let me show you what that looks like on our chart here. Here we go. Okay. So we got Mercury at 4 degrees, Jupiter at 4 degrees. That red line is the opposition we've been talking about, that 40,000 foot review. And you see the dark blue line, the sun trine Pluto at the same time. But here we are with the Cancer moon squaring both the sun, both Mercury and Jupiter. Stay with me, guys. It's been a long day. The moon squaring both Mercury and Jupiter, making this pivotal T-square, bringing this emotional awareness to everything that's changed, everything that's transformed, the big picture as we look to the past. It's just like, in a word, it's super nostalgic energy on Sunday. Emotions are heavily influenced by that review that we're experiencing. And this T-square just really brings our awareness to everything that's already transpired, how much time has already passed, how much we've already experienced. But I will say, one little piece, one little nugget about this. As the moon squares Jupiter, it creates this energy of, well, overthinking is definitely possible, right? Moon squaring Mercury, moon squaring Jupiter. There's an energy of overthinking potentially, and our emotions are very much tied to that experience, right? So it could be easy to overly romanticize the past, being overly nostalgic. It's kind of like this tension between the past and the present, and emotionally you're probably going to want to just like live back in, oh, the good old days. Wasn't that so beautiful? Wasn't that so nice when things were like that? So that's not a bad thing necessarily. There's no good or bad in the transits, I always say. It's just a matter of how we work with the energy. But just recognize if you're really living in the past and if you're ignoring anything in the present because of it. But I love this for us on Sunday. I love this energy of giving ourselves credit for how far we've come, how much we've grown, what we've accomplished, and also recognizing how much we've been taken care of along the way. Holy moly, Corby. I'm shocked I still have a voice after going through everything. What a power-packed weekend. I don't remember ever having a weekend with this many major transits to talk about. It's like a planetary party going on. But yes, definitely transformative. And there's a lot, it's like a lot of tension leading up to Sunday, right? With Venus squaring Mars. There's a lot of healing packed in there. There's just, it's a lot. It's a lot going on Friday and Saturday. And some confusion. And then Sunday feels like, with the moon returning to its home sign of Cancer, like this nice return back to ourselves and this ability to release all that tension under the last quarter moon. And as we release, as we let those emotions flow out, being like, what are we left with? And looking back on everything that's transpired, everything that's still there, and everything that's gone that has helped us get to this point. So yes, definitely transformative, definitely beautiful. And there's a lot of ways to make the most of the energy this weekend. So yes, I'm excited to see how it plays out, not only for you all, but for myself too, because I know for sure for me, it's going to be a transformative weekend. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'm literally going to a different part of the world. So excited. If you're finding this video later, let me know how these transits are popping up for you. If you're revisiting it throughout the weekend, let me know if you experienced something on Friday that definitely played into that square between Venus and Mars, or that opposition between the Sun and Neptune. I always love hearing how the transits play out for you all in your individual lives. Yes, grateful to be able to be intentional during this potent weekend, knowing all these transits. Can you imagine not knowing what's going on? This will be a confusing weekend. So that's another great point to give your friends, your family members, some grace. Everyone's a little confused. Everyone's feeling that neediness, that want. And like I said, Sunday feels a little bit calmer, and also like this ability to understand how it's all working out, helps you better plan and adjust. These are my people right here. Like I said, I always acknowledge that I'm viewing the transits a certain way because of my experience, because of my life, but I know I'm drawing in my people who have similar mindsets as me. Okay, let's come back to our affirmation of the weekend. And I just realized I didn't update it, but let me update it. Let me update it for you all, because I love ending with an affirmation. And the affirmation that came through for me, really for Friday, but I feel like the Friday affirmation usually carries us through the weekend. And this is in relation to Venus squaring Mars. Here we go, affirmation of the weekend. I attract what I am. Remember that this is a principle of the law of attraction. The energy you put out is the energy you receive. And that really feels like what we experience when Venus squares Mars. We're like, I have this neediness and this want, but if we're putting out desperation, we're probably going to get back desperation, right? If we put out this like, I'm worthy And anyone else who comes into my awareness will also feel worthy. And then we're not trying to heal each other's wounds. We're just trying to show up as the best version of ourselves, so that's especially powerful if you're single, if you're looking for love, but also recognize even in partnerships, current partnerships, if you show up moody and negative, your partner is probably going to show up moody and negative. You attract what you are. That's a fun thing to play with in relationships, right? And knowing too that if you're confused, you're probably going to attract someone who's confused. And it's a confusing weekend in general. We're all a little confusing, just like watching the weather forecast. Plan accordingly, right? So remember, whatever your energy you're putting out is likely the energy you're going to receive. And that can help cut through some of the fog a little bit, if you ask me, because if your intentions are pure, if your energy is high vibe, you can expect to attract other people who are in that same vibration. It's all vibrational, right? If we're here, it's like magnets. You're going to attract something with the same vibration as you. So yes, our senses are a little fogged because of Neptune's opposition to the sun, but play with energetics instead. I attract what I am. And we'll finish out with a 3-card tarot pull from this tiny little tarot deck, Everyday Tarot by Biddy Tarot. And I wanted to do a 3-card pull specifically for this weekend because there's so much going on and the energy of each day feels like it's a little different, especially the transformation from the beginning of the weekend to the end of the weekend. So my friends, you know the drill. Also, I just love how you're all here with me at night. It's like a little secret meeting or something. I know it's not a secret, but yes, we'll think about the retrospective. And remember that Mercury and Jupiter have been opposing each other loosely for a while. So this opposition between them is just bringing that awareness to how much we've grown, just amplifying the awareness around the retrograde energy. Let me know if you all have any questions, what you're up to tonight. I never get to chat with you all at night. So if you have any plans this weekend, your intentions about using the energy of the weekend, I love to hear what's going on in all of your lives. We'll do a few more shuffles here. And then we'll see what message wants to come through from the universe. I'm loving that you're here too, Bailey. Oh, there's the first one. Okay, what else wants to come through? Ooh, already loving the first card. I can't wait to show you. Oh, watching the last 3 episodes of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Chef's kiss. We love that. Love that for my birthday weekend for you. This is so random, but what kind of mascara are you wearing? I'm happy to answer your questions. It's actually just CoverGirl has like a clean mascara. I've been really trying to go only purchase products that are not tested on animals. I know that even though it says clean, it probably still has a lot of chemicals in it, but rest assured it's not tested on animals. So it's just CoverGirl's blue bottle clean mascara. Thanks for noticing. I appreciate that. I was in a great mood and then bam, angry and annoyed. It will pass. Well, what's going on right now? Let's just remember Saturn is starting to square Uranus, so that could be coming up throughout the day today. And the moon is in Gemini now, so what's going on with Gemini in your chart? That is a great place to look. All right, we got our first card. Let's get our Saturday and Sunday cards. Here we go. If you're joining me live, let's take a deep breath all together. Breathe in. What do we need to know? Ooh. Okay. Already loving this. I always give the disclaimer with tarot cards. I'm not a tarot expert. I just read the guidebook, and I like that these have nice, concise little descriptions. So for our Friday card, we got the Magician. Card number 1 is our Friday card. Remember on Friday? Wait, I have to stop. My guy is a Gemini. He annoys me too. That just made me giggle. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, the Magician, Friday energy, Venus squaring Mars, Sun opposing Neptune. Here's what it says. You are taking action to manifest your goals and have the resources to create what you desire. You combine magic and practicality to bring your ideas to reality. this feels like a really positive interpretation of the sun opposing Neptune, because Neptune's all about magic. It's all about that mystical element, right? And I love how it says you combine magic and practicality to bring your ideas to reality. The sun opposing Neptune, yes, it creates this confusion, but often in that fogginess is where magic can be born. And so just know, if you're in the fog and you're feeling inspired, if your imagination is being activated, because Neptune's all about our imagination, play in that fogginess, brain dump, paint, be creative on Friday, and create your own magic. It doesn't have to make sense, and that's the beauty of magic, and that's the beauty of creativity. So you can really play into that confusion, that fogginess, by being creative. And as I mentioned, it's not the day to make decisions, but it is the day to play in your creativity. And there's not a lot of decision making, if you will, when it comes to creativity. It's more flow. So I see that as harnessing your magic and just kind of going with the flow. And Venus squaring Mars could bring up some tension, and a great outlet for that could be creativity. Have the resources to create what you desire. So what resources are around you? How can you play in the fog even when you can't see things clearly? Okay, our Saturday card is the Two of Pentacles in reverse. All right, so we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Remember, Saturday, we're still feeling that tension between Venus and Mars, connecting with the North Node, connecting with Chiron. There's an element of healing here going on. Here's what the guidebook says. Your schedule is overloaded and you are dropping the ball. Ooh. Get yourself organized and don't be afraid to ask for help. You're not expected to do everything on your own. Great reminder for us on Saturday. The moon's in Gemini. We're busy on Saturday. So if you feel like your schedule is overloaded, this is your chance to get organized. Use the last days of Virgo season to harness that organizational energy. And remember, you're not expected to do everything on your own. Mars forms a sextile to Chiron on Saturday. And you might be feeling like, I have to do it all on my own. Mars is very energy, me. I have to do it on my own. And our wounding could be provoked when we try to do it all on our own. But there's healing in asking for help with Mars sextile Chiron. And the Two of Pentacles is reminding us, if you feel overloaded, ask for help on Saturday. Okay, our final card for Sunday, remember our 40,000 foot review, Mercury opposing Jupiter, the sun harmonizing with Pluto, this very transformative day, is the Hierophant. You're working with a teacher, mentor, or guiding authority. You will expand your knowledge and learn fundamental principles with a trusted source. Interesting card to pull on a Sunday. I love that it's just very matter of fact, like you're working with a teacher or mentor. So if you're not already working with a teacher or mentor or a guide of some sort, who are you learning from? That's a good question to ask. Who are you learning from? Are you your own authority, or are you looking outside of yourself for authority? You'll expand your knowledge and learn fundamental principles with a trusted source. There could be questions coming up. We talked about this at the beginning of the forecast. Who are we trusting? Who are we sharing things with, right? And so this card just feels like it's bringing awareness to, who are you giving your power to and who are you learning from? Because who we learn from is equally as important, if not more important, than the content itself. If you ask me, the people we surround ourselves with, the people we give authority to as knowledge holders are some of the most influential people in our lives, right? We've all had that teacher that changed our life, or a parent even. So who are you learning from? Make sure it's a trusted source, and you are bound to have transformative experiences and expand your mind. Something to ask yourself on Sunday. Yes, the Magician. We love the Magician card. The person annoying me at work today was a Gemini. That Gemini energy, my friends. It's that Gemini energy. And remember, Mars is in Gemini too. So let's just be nice and recognize that the Geminis are feeling more aggressive right now. Mars might be close to their sun. That's an aggressive energy, and they're already very flighty people, You have everything you need. As above, as below. Love that. Love that. Great connection with the transits too. Yes. We're loving the Magician card. This was so much fun, you guys. Thanks for joining me for this evening episode of Transits today. I'm glad I got to hop on and get us all in the right mindset for the weekend. If you joined late, know that I will be adding markers to the timeline so you can jump back in, see what the energy of each day will bring, check in over the weekend. And I am working on having short little bite-sized videos to go out live for you every day next week while I'm gone, just to attune you with the energy. But always remember that the full forecasts are there for you every day at thespiritualjournalist.com. You can find them anytime. So if you're needing a deeper dive, I know we do our deep dives every day, right? But while I'm gone, if you're wanting to just, or if you need the forecast before I'm able to go live, it's always there for you at thespiritualjournalist.com. And come follow me on Instagram for my Italian adventure. I'm so excited to share it with you all. I will be going live a couple times in Italy, so look out for announcements about that on Instagram. And I just appreciate you all so much. I'm so grateful for all the love you send me every day. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Bibi. As a Gemini rising, I think I annoyed my baby today. That's hilarious. Thank you so much. Don't even talk to me. I'm not going to Rome actually this time, but you better believe I'm going to be channeling Audrey Hepburn in Roman Holiday. I got to find a Vespa at some point. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I love that movie. I might even have to watch that movie while I'm there. Ooh. All right, Corby, sweet dreams to you. So grateful you joined us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate seeing your lovely face in the chat. Thank you, Bibi. Thank you, Rose. I'm going to eat lots of extra pasta just for you. I promise. You guys are so sweet. Oh, thank you. Sing a song for me at karaoke. I love it. Thank you so much, everybody. I will see you all live some point in Italy. Stay tuned. But until I see you next, I hope you have a beautiful weekend ahead. I hope you have the best night. And I wish you all the best navigating this jam-packed weekend. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Ciao, and stay curious. Thank you so much for joining us and aligning with the energy of the universe today. If you enjoyed this morning's episode of Transits Today, you can join our live astrology discussion every weekday morning right here wherever you're watching. And head to thespiritualjournalist.com to read your daily astrology forecast and browse the Spiritual Shop. The most fun way to help keep these forecasts free and support more content like this is to buy yourself a little something on our website. But if you're feeling extra generous, you can also buy me a coffee to fuel future live streams. Just tap the link in the description or head to buymeacoffee.com and search The Spiritual Journalist. And speaking of, you can also tune in to The Spiritual Journalist, our weekly live interview where we ask our guests questions about everything from crystals and manifestation to mental health and the environment. Those conversations stream live right here wherever you're watching now every Tuesday. I'm so grateful you found us here, and I can't wait for our next conversation.